Okay, so I'm back another week along. Actually, I was here yesterday. I came and dropped in a cement mixer. So I borrowed it from somebody in the village and super useful. It's a really good size one, which I can use to point the walls, concrete the floor, and it just saves me having to hire one, having to buy one. And yeah, I'm really pleased about that. It's like a key piece of equipment that I was looking for. So I'm not doing anything with that today, but at least it's there ready to go. Today I'm just keeping it simple. I'm going to continue stripping the paint off the walls, just get that all clean and ready for the next stage, which is priming and painting. I am waiting to get a trailer actually for my car to get sand, cement, lime, all that sort of stuff for the floor and the walls. And I think, as I'd always planned, I want to try and do the external pointing of the stone, the mortar between the stone, while it's good weather, although today it's not great weather, but while it's summer, so it has a good chance to dry and cure. And I'm leaving the floor for now until I know what's going on with the electric supply. I have been speaking to the network provider, I think it's National Grid, who are giving me a quote, hopefully today, on the connection. And then I think it may not affect the floor at all, which is good. So as soon as I know that, then I can actually start planning the floor. I've been looking into other things. Like one thing that was a big sort of flashing light for me, which I wasn't really sure about, was the actual planning use. So I'd got the impression that I wouldn't really need to do anything in terms of planning permission to change or to use this for what I intend to use it for. But I did finally manage to speak to somebody at the local council, and they equally weren't that sure, but advised me that it would be a good idea to put a change of use application in, which basically details the building and what it's proposed to be used for, what it's currently used for, and it's really more of a chance to contact the neighbours and just make sure that everybody's happy that what I'm intending to use it for is okay. So I'm going to do that. It costs a bit more money, it takes a bit more time, but it does mean that I'm confident that at least I've ticked all the boxes and I'm not at any risk of anybody making some sort of complaint claim against what we're doing. But I'm not really worried about that. It's just probably best to go by the book and do it properly. So that's another bit of paperwork I need to do. And yeah, otherwise I'm going to continue chipping away at this slowly. I'm going to increase the pace soon, as soon as I've got some new tools. I've got a trailer to carry stuff around in. I've now got my cement mixer. I need a bench, which I'm going to source so I can do some woodworking on, because I want to do the stable door. So as soon as I sort of have all that stuff in place, I can then really get sort of going on everything and have everything that I need at my fingertips to make some progress. So there's a lot of trying to get things in the right order, trying not to spend money that might be just wasted. You know, if you're trying to start a new business and you're doing something like this, that's always in your mind. Like, am I just wasting my time? Am I just wasting my money? Is this thing at risk? Of course, the whole business may not work, but you have to have some confidence that what you're doing interesting and captures people's imagination. So, and it captures mine. I really love the idea, so I think it's all worth it. But yeah, so for now, it's just like getting the things in the right order. So I'm roasting in a different location today. This is our little workshop on the side of our house. It's right next to the little office where I normally do the roasting. I just wanted to try and do it in here just because I'm thinking when it gets to winter, I want a slightly more open space for the ventilation. In the little office, I normally have the door open, but when it's really cold winter, I don't really have any other way of ventilating that room. Whereas this room just has more space, it has more gaps for air to escape. So it's just a good test to see if this will work through the winter, because I want to keep practicing roasting as it gets colder. It's great in the summer, but as it gets colder, I really want to try it out. So I'm going to give it a go in here. I'm going to roast a couple of big bags for the holiday, which is coming up. We're off to the seaside, Cornwall, next week, and want to take a couple of bags to have during the week. This is some green coffee that I bought from the Green Coffee Collective, and they basically take parts of coffee shipments and then package it up into slightly smaller bags for people that are like practicing roasting on smaller machines. It just means that green coffee is more accessible, and you obviously don't have to buy 60 kilos. This is just 1 kilo, and you can buy like slightly bigger bags, but for me, just starting, I bought 1 kilo. I had a lot of other samples from Colombia as well, so I had a bit to go with. So this one is from Colombia. It's actually from Antioquia, which is the region where I get a lot of the other coffee samples from. But I don't know this producer, but it is a Colombia variety, which is one of the main sort of staple coffee crops in Colombia. It's really good. And this one has been processed in a washed thermal shock and yeast inoculation. So to be honest, I don't know what is involved in that process, but it is going to be slightly fermenty, sort of like a natural process. And I've tried this before. I did do a sample roast before, and it's really, really nice. So let's give it a go. It's the first time I've used this machine to do 200 grams. The maximum this machine does is 200 grams. And so I'll have to do it twice to get my 2 bags. Okay, so I've saved a profile to the roaster on the Cafe Logic program, and I've set it to a washed coffee, and I've set it to a very light roast level. So the maximum temperature will be 214.4 degrees. The time of the roast will be 6 minutes 33, and then there'll be a few minutes cool down. And it's expected that the coffee will start cracking, which means like the moisture is exploding out of the coffee at about 209 degrees and at about 5 minutes 49. So let's give it a go. This is how the coffee's looking at the moment. So you might just be able to hear the cracking now. It's getting to the end of the roast. It's never smelled so good in this little workshop. Okay, so that first roast done. Took 6 minutes 18 to roast and then 6 minutes to cool down. It was quite a long time actually, but I think it's because of the volume of coffee. So previously I'd only done maximum 120 and it was like probably 2 minutes quicker to cool down. So I'll do the next batch. I'll just put this batch in a bag. The smell of this coffee, I'd roasted it before on a similar roast setting. And when I smell it, the only thing I'm getting is vanilla ice cream, which is lovely, really nice. Okay, so for the second one, I want to try a different roast just because I obviously want to get used to this machine and see what different things you can do with it. I roasted this on a light roast, recommended for washed coffee, and I'm going to try this one based on the rough elevation, altitude that the coffee was grown at. Still do it quite light, but not as light as this one. So let's just see how this comes out different. It's meant to be a much longer roast time. So I imagine it's going to end up being much darker, which probably isn't going to be to my taste, but at least I know then how much the different levels make a difference. So somebody will like it, I'll drink it, it won't be that bad. But I reckon I'm going to like this one more because it looks visually kind of colour that I would normally like my coffee. One good thing about doing the roasting in here, I'm a bit less worried about the dust because it does, although it catches a lot of the coffee husks that are coming off the beans, it still does create quite a bit of dust in the air. Like I'm trying to get it not to go on my laptop, and it does require a vacuum close by, which I've got here. If you are using it in your kitchen or something like that, definitely a vacuum close at hand is a good call. You can really hear it cracking now. And what I think this profile is going to do is just take this sort of 210, 12 degrees temperature for a little while longer, which obviously is going to darken the beans. And it should just bring something slightly different out of these beans. So I'm quite interested to see how it will come out. In theory, if they're too roasted, it will start getting bitter, but it could actually bring out more sweetness in them. So yeah, really interesting to see. So rather than 6 minutes roasting time for the last one, this is actually going to be 8 minutes. The beans are definitely getting a little bit darker. So the temperature's got to 223 degrees and the roasting has been running for 8.5 minutes. It should start cooling any second. It's cooling now. So you can see here the beans have really expanded. They've literally come right to the top here, so I'm going to have to be really careful emptying this. I feel like I'm going to lose a lot. Not too bad. So a few beans got caught in the top as well, sent up with the husks. So yeah, from my mishandling, I lost a few beans there, but I've got probably just a bit less than 200 grams here. There's still that vanilla ice cream smell. It's really good. It's really interesting how the volume of this bag is much greater than this bag in terms of it's exactly the same coffee. It was exactly the same amount of green coffee put into the machine, but this bag is totally full to the top and this bag has a real load of space. So super interesting. This second profile, the darker profile, has really expanded the coffee.